urinate. But if you had bigger boobs, you'd be a 10. Oh, what's up, everybody? How we doing today? Welcome into the podcast. Welcome back to ADH Dads. My name is Mitty80.
I'm Chief.
Yeah, and welcome back. Welcome back. Episode 3 right here, guys. Episode 3. We're back. If you guys haven't already, here's we'll post episode 2 like right here, or put a picture of it if you haven't seen it already. You know, go check that out. Some funny content there, some stuff. I don't know. I thought it was
episode 2, right?
That was episode 2. Yeah. So make sure you guys check out 1 and 2. But yeah, man. So
I mean, if you can believe it, we're already out of material.
So, I don't know. So I'm gonna Google stuff to talk.
Fun.
I'm just kidding. No, actually we're gonna start things a little bit different here. So I'm gonna post a comment right here.
That's right.
Comments
on our videos
from one of our viewers. There's a comment right there, and it's from a viewer, Jack Vickers. Right, and he says, with you guys both being dads, a future episode focused on thoughts while becoming dads would be cool. Not necessarily I'm going to give you tips on being a dad, because let me tell you, you're asking the wrong person if you want tips from me. All right, time out. Like we'll get into that in a minute. But more your journeys when you first found out you were going to be a dad, plus more your thoughts, experiences preparing or leading up to that date. So first off, before we address this comment, I'd like to give a shout out to Jack, to my buddy Jack right here.
He is a buddy of ours. We didn't plant him, but
no. Yeah,
he's just a fan. We didn't
pay him to comment yet, but no, I'm just kidding. He's just a fan. He started watching, but he also runs a podcast, Victorious POD. If you guys are interested, he does is more of a, I want to say like a fantasy football podcast. I've been in it a couple times, and just gives like his takes on certain players, teams, matchups, things like that. So if you guys want to check that out, we'll leave a link to that in the description below.
Absolutely. They've been going pretty long. I think
they've
like
been season 6
season?
Probably after this year, after what, a couple weeks now, they'll be starting season 7 here in August, September.
Absolutely.
So
they keep you up to date on stuff.
Yeah, too, if you guys want to know, they talk about literally everything fantasy football related, stuff like that. They're open for questions too. You can go in, they do it live. So you can hop in there, ask questions, get answers right on the spot. But yeah, if you guys want to check that out, absolutely, go check it out. Good buddy of ours. But yeah, I think that he actually brought up a really good point. I know that Jack, right, our buddy Jack, is a soon-to-be father, right, along with...
So he also, we in our D&D circles.
Yep.
Jack plays with us. My brother, Zach, plays with us. No, we're not making any of this up.
No, Zach and Jack.
He's also expecting, and they're both expecting boys.
Both expecting boys. So with this comment here, I thought
work.
I thought it. Yeah, good job.
We both have our first was boys,
yeah. Right?
So
I think
nice.
this is like a perfect kind of, we could talk about this stuff, right? Like this.
Absolutely.
I thought this would be definitely a good subject. So to touch on the giving advice, man, like I am not the person to get advice from, and the reason being is because I feel like every kid is different, right? So. But not only every kid is different. I'm still learning, right, with my first child. My first child, this is the first time I've had a 4-year-old, right? Everything I do with my first child it's a first, and it's a trial run with the first kid, right? So now my daughter, I feel like, is so much easier, right? Because she's younger. It's just kind of like one of those. I mean, she's the easiest baby in the world.
Yeah, she's a baby yet. Yeah.
But I mean, even still. But I mean, like, I'm going to be more prepared for her.
Yeah.
But, like, being a dad, having a 4-year-old, having a 4-year-old who's 2 weeks old, and then having a 4-year-old that's 2 weeks old in one day, it's all new to me, right? Because I've never had it before, and every day is different. So getting advice from me on how to parent, wrong guy to ask, man.
I just feel, I mean, I don't think, my dad always told me, there's no book on raising kids. You just, you show up and hope for the best, and that's kind of how we do it. Obviously, there's way more technology and literature and stuff, and every generation has their little thing that, the baby boomers have their thing. And then, us millennials, we have our thing, and it's just so funny to listen to, like, everybody's got beef with their parents. And I think that's just going to happen. So you gotta just be okay with it.
That's fact. Like, I feel like I was so much like my dad, though, that I butted heads with him so much. Like, we were so alike that it was like we were both stubborn, and even though we both knew, like, for example, 5 + 5 is 10, right? Even though we both knew that 5 + 5 was 10, like it was like, well, no, you're gonna listen to me on how it is, and he was like, well, no, you're gonna listen to me, and it was just always just constant boom, 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 button heads, and I think that's just like something I haven't come across yet, but I know it's coming.
Well, we touched on it last time too about like even just like with my son about going to Chuck E. Cheese, but we talked about differences in growing up and how we were the ones to go outside. Now they have technology all the time as well too. So now it's like, well, you can read it too. I mean, they have the kids that watch a lot of like YouTube videos, TikToks. That's why it's not the best thing to give them like TikTok when they're younger and stuff like that. You have immediate satisfaction. You're getting that dump every second. Every second.
The highs and lows. Within a swipe.
And, I mean, remember us growing up? Like, if there was one kid that like you shut the TV off before the show was over, and the kid just lost his mind. We're like, wow, that kid's psycho. My kids do that 3 times a day. Yeah. So it's like, clearly, we're trying to adjust whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
But again, like to Jack's point, though, a lot of it too was like, we don't have the answers on how to parent. This is we just know what we do. We know what other people do.
I'm trying stuff in and out every day.
But well, and his thing too, like what his question too was like, how did we feel before?
Oh no, we'll definitely touch on that. We'll definitely touch on that. I just wanted to make a strong point, make a strong case for myself that if you want,
I have the best macho story.
If you want parenting tips, I'm not the guy.
I mean,
right?
We'll answer your questions.
And I can tell you what I went through in what situation or how a certain situation that I went through could be similar to your situation, but I think that I would almost guarantee that no situation that you have gone through, Chief, with your kids is the same as a situation that I've gone through with my kid. Like, I would say completely different.
But our kids learn different, too. Like, there are times where we've taken Ollie to watch him, and there's times where, like, we'll just have you guys watch ours, and like, and just to see the differences in how you parent versus how I parent.
The different rules.
It is very
and
different.
And like you can definitely see it. Like, for example, today at dinner when Jackson wasn't eating his food, and I just said, "All right, bud, like, no popsicle. You're not eating.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
You don't get a snack.
No dinner, no dessert, right?" He just took off running, and then your daughter, my son, both. Hey, well, we finished our food, and they bring me empty bowls. Like, here you go.
There you go.
And it's like, well, you did eat like 13 meatballs with your spaghetti, and you ate everything. So yeah, we gave them popsicles, but I mean, like, it's just different. Yeah, different parenting styles, right? Like,
they respond to different things, and sometimes it's, and the worst part. This is the worst part about being a parent, but only with having kids 5 under right now, is you can do whatever you want. But if somebody else who's cool just comes over, does not have children, and they ask anything of that kid, they're just like, absolutely, whatever you wish. And they will go ahead and go take care of it and do whatever. My sister will do that all the time. Like, she'll come over, and my daughter's just like, because I'm her best friend. I'm her best friend. But then Casey comes over, and then it's whatever she asks of her. Hey, could you go do this? Absolutely. I'll pick everything up. I'll put it away. I'll put my pretty dress on. And you're like, it's been like 6 months. I just want you to just do it one time when I ask you.
So here, a little bit of feedback I got in that, because I have the same thing. Like, I'll turn around and I'll be like, Ollie, I need you to do this. Ollie, I need you to do this. I mean, you heard me tonight. Ollie, grab it by the stick. Because he's trying to grab the popsicle by the freaking thing. I'm like, grab it by the stick. Grab it. You ever seen that TikTok where she's like, hey, it's hot on the bottom. It's hot on the bottom. Yeah. It is hot on the bottom of the, on the pot, right? And it's literally, grab it by the stick. Grab it. And he's just like... and I'm like, grab it by the stick, dude. And he grabs it, and it's just like, geez, man, like, come on.
Because if you like,
but the thing is, so getting back to that, like, it's like I gotta ask him 17 times to do something, right? So from what I hear, we go to school, and his teacher's like, oh my god, he listens great.
Yes.
Like, I asked him one time, he does it. Like, the only thing we're working on right now is he likes to bang toys around, so we're trying to like cut that out. But he responds excellent, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
and it is normal to want to like throw your kid out the window. Like, that's a normal thought.
Hunter,
I mean, you would never do that.
I wanted to Spartan kick Ollie off of my invisible deck.
You love them unconditionally. They are the best things to happen to you. They bring 100%. The best out of you. But yes, occasionally you can be like, I get it. I mean, like, you get it. Like, yeah, like all the bad things. They're like, I mean, I wouldn't say good parent. I'll just say every like parent that's trying very hard can understand
the frustration, man. Like
they can understand the bad things that have happened, because like,
dude,
it's not that far off. I mean, obviously, like, it gets really intense, and we're joking, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, there are nights I'm like, do I need this? I don't need this anymore. Are you kidding me? This is not what it's about. This is ridiculous. And then you take a quick sidebar, and you're like, whew, and then you just sign back up and go back in. Yep. You just tap back in, you go in. You forget the thoughts in an hour anyway. It doesn't matter.
Sometimes you need that, that 5-minute step away. Like, there are times when, like, Brienne will come home, and I've been with the kids from the time they wake up until she gets home. That could be as early as 7 a.m., 6:30 in the morning when the kids decide to get up and get out of bed. Mm-hmm. I'm up then, and I'm up until she gets back home at 7 p.m., and sometimes I'm just like, I'm going to go shovel the driveway. I'm going to get out of the house.
I'm going to go stand in that field.
I'm going to go mow the lawn. I got to do something, right? Yeah. I'm going to take a shower, and you just need that 5-10 minutes, and you just,
That's what Mel does, shower.
It's one of those, you just, turn everything off. You forget about it, and then you turn on, and you're like, all right, cool, let me go hang out with my kids, see what they're doing with mom, and it's like a whole, different perspective, because it's like, okay, cool. But you need that. You definitely need that. And I think that's where, a good team
and it's okay to take it, too. If you live in a good house, and you have a room set for them, and even if they're not crawling, or they're just, laying on their back, it's always tummy time, it's okay to just put them down and go in the other room for 5 minutes.
Walk away.
Nobody's gonna jump into your house and steal your baby. Nothing's gonna fall on them. You can leave them alone for a really long time if you want to. But it's 5 minutes. If you need the 5 and you're a single parent or you don't have the time for it or whatever, just go set them down on the ground. They're gonna cry. Shut the door. Give them 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes. Then saddle back up and go back in. Because they will be more responsive to you coming back in after. Oh my God, she didn't leave me. And then it's quieter. And then you have relaxed.
So on a point to that too, it's all about routines too with kids. You got to set those routines up, I would say. So for example, Brienne. No, hang on. So for example,
I'm saying this is the difference.
So Brienne getting Mavis to bed, right? Mm-hmm. Well, she would always be like, I gotta take her into bed with me. We have to drink the bottle and not together, but she has to be laying next to me while she drinks the bottle in mine and Brienne's bed. She has to be laying there, and she has to be out asleep before I can bring her to bed. That's where when Brienne closes and I got to put the baby to bed, I walk into the baby's room, I set the baby down, I give her a bottle, put a passy in her hand, I'm like, good night, I love you, and I walk out and close the door. Baby doesn't make a sound. Brienne would try to do that though, because Brienne,
or she cries. And you just leave it.
Well, no, she cries for maybe a minute, but then she's just like, I'm gonna go to bed.
What do you call that? Ferberizing, yeah.
But where Brienne would do it, Brienne would set her down, and the second she set her down and start to walk out, Mavis would stand up and just start throwing stuff out the crib, the bottles. So it's one of those she got used to when mommy brings her to bed, mommy snuggles, mommy does all this stuff. So it's all about routine, because Mavis knows I'm not coming back in the room. I have a baby monitor, I'm watching. If something terrible happens, obviously I'm right there. But it's definitely about those routines too. Make sure it's okay to step away from your baby if they're crying. If you've given them everything, sometimes babies cry, man. When Mavis was teething.
Cry all the time.
All she did was cry, man. She screamed and yelled, and you just see her just rubbing stuff in her mouth, on her gums and stuff, and just but it's uncomfortable, I mean, you got to think you with a sprained ankle, you're gonna be pissed off every time you go to walk around. Well, every time she tried to eat, every time she's laying there. I'm
just listening to your feedback on this.
All right, what is yours?
I have different.
All right, let me hear yours.
But no, continue on.
I'm just saying. Routines is a big thing. The baby will learn that. Hey, with daddy, it's bedtime. Daddy's putting me to bed. It's bedtime. That's it. But if mommy tries to put me to bed, well, now I'm pissed. Now I'm gonna cry, and then Brienne would give in and walk back into the room, take her out of the thing, and so it started a thing. But I mean, we finally broke that now to where at about 7:30, 8 o'clock, we can set the baby down and just see you later, and we won't see her again until 9 in the morning. She sleeps all the way. Knock on wood, but she sleeps the whole night. We got lucky. We got some bummy kids. They sleep all day. It's great. Not all day, but But what's your feedback on that? You don't setting routines and stuff with the kids. I think that's important. It's important to let them know
routines is a nice guideline, but sometimes you just have different kids.
I would say it is different in your house, though, because I have noticed, with your kids, if I raise my voice to my kids, they kind of just laugh and keep doing their thing. But if you raise your voice to your kids, they're drop everything, attention, like literally stiff as
Yes,
a
Dad.
board, like
Yes, Dad. Yes, Dad.
yep, ready to go. I'm like, Oliver, quit it, and he's just like, I just wanted to try it though. It's like
Oh, I know.
I said stop, like.
And
So that's what I'm saying. There is difference. Every house is different though.
Yes.
You
But
know.
see, for like our routines, manners was a huge thing. So it's always please, thank you, yes sir, yes ma'am. It's very much that way. And we've gotten compliments. People have commented on it because I mean, if I can teach them anything, manners is easy to teach.
Mhm.
Everything else, whatever. But like routines, I mean, we've tried routines. Sometimes you just have different kids. Jax, my son, oldest, responds to structure fairly well. He likes to know what's going on. It's this. Arya's definitely a free spirit. So like for her and like going to bed, I mean the fur rising thing, with him, I let him cry for like, I would put him in the crib. I'd let him cry for an hour, easy. I'd play a video game or whatever, let him cry, and my wife was losing her mind. She's like, you cannot do that to this kid. It is neglect. They're gonna take our kid away from me. Like she did this whole thing, and I'm like, no, they're not. We are just the baby's safe. We are in the other room. He's gonna learn to fall asleep. But then, like after like 2 nights, it got less. And then we'd also to train him too. Here's a little trick too. If you like go out in public, obviously we had like COVID's done, thank God. But like we would take this is before this. We would take him out in a carrier, go to busy restaurants, and then just put him in there. And we'd like time it so like if he fell asleep in the car, perfect. He'd be in the restaurant with us, still sleeping and getting used to all that noise.
Oh yeah, dude. We used to take Ollie to.
And and he would sleep through the night. He would go to bed on time. He would do that kind of stuff when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's 5. Doesn't listen to anything. No structure works. Whatever. But her, I mean, since she was so early, she had to spend time in a hospital. That's probably another story for another time. But she got used to the quiet. So for her, she is such a light sleeper. So she's the one that like you need to put her to sleep in her bed, and there's no moving. You're not going to be able to move her or anything. But now she's kind of got to the point where like he now barely sleeps, and now she gets through the night just fine, never wakes up. So that's where it's like you want basic structure, of course, and I'm sure there's times we could have been more rigid, or there's times we could have been more lax. But that it's like have a good basic routine, and it's got to work with your schedule too. Like reschedule
100%. Changes
all the time. You're here all the time, but like changing sometimes. If she has to take over, that's different. It's a different time.
A different thing.
Doesn't matter if it's the same time. It's different.
No, there are times where it's 100% like I just feel like he's a lot like me in that sense that he knows how to push my buttons. Like, and he knows what makes me mad. Like he knows, and he knows he's not supposed to do something too. Like we've just finally started, and this is something I've been trying to put in place with him too. Is like, hey, like, he'll be like, I'm thirsty. I want apple juice. I'm like, yo, what are we whining about? And he'll be like, I just want some apple juice. And I'm like, hey, take the wine on your voice. Let's try this. Let's be like, hey, Dad, I'm kind of thirsty. Think it'd be cool if I got some apple juice? I'm like, take a deep breath and try it. And he'll be like, hey, Dad, I'm thirsty. Can I have some apple juice? Yeah, bud, that sounds great. You need me to get it for you?
Yep.
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
Cool. And I grab a cup and I fill it. And I was like, now, was that so hard? And he's like, well, no. Right? And so, I mean, this has been going on for like 2 weeks, right? I mean, like everything. If he starts whining, I'm like, hey, Dad, you think you can help me out with this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll be like, yeah, bud, of course, I would love to do that with you. And I go and do it with him, And then I'm just, was that so hard? Well, no. So now, even today, he started getting upset. Like, what was it about? Because you were here at that point. He started getting, I don't know, maybe you didn't catch it. He started getting upset about something. And I turned around, I was just like.
Because you can do the Mario.
Yeah, something. I was like maybe, hey, Dad. And I before I even finished my statement, he goes, hey, Dad, you think you can set this up for me? I was like, I would love to set it up for you. And I was like, does that sound cool? Yeah, that's really cool. And he gets all excited. And it's like, that's all you do, It's one of those things you just got to reinforce the behaviors that, like, you want, And so I'm trying to get him to, like, just stop being so ticked off. Like, he'll build with his magnet tiles, and they all crumble down, and it's the end of the world. And I'm just like, hey, buddy, guess what? They're meant to keep building, and then destroy and build again, and destroy and build again, And so, like, it's just one. There's a lot of patience that goes into it, And I feel like it's
Yeah, I mean,
it definitely tests your patience. But again, I don't know.
Again, we don't know. I mean,
don't
this
ask
is
me
what
for
we're doing.
advice, right? This is stuff like.
Trust me. I'll tell you. Well, okay, so when your kid's going to sports, like I've touched on, my kid's he's a little bit of a crybaby, so you know, it's me adjusting to how to engage with that,
Deal
to
with
get
the
him to
crybaby.
do
No,
the
I'm just
same
kidding.
outcome versus like if like my dad was a lot of suck it up, get in there, go get it done, and you just did it because you knew there was no other option for him. He just thinks the only other option is to cry, and so that didn't compute with me when I was a kid, so whatever. Well, with him, so we were doing t-ball, and he was throwing it into a net, and it was supposed to come back, and you'd throw it, and it'd come back, and he's, and at the time he was 4 or 5 or whatever, and he couldn't, the gloves you
Grip the
get, they're
glove?
just not
Yeah.
very, they're small, but they can't move them, open them. And so it stuck like this. And so I threw the ball, and he went to get it, and it just kind of went boop and fell out. And he goes, I'm not very good at this. And like, immediately I'm like, hey, knock it off. Come on. I'm going to throw you another one. We're going to catch it. Another dad came over, and he's like, hey, buddy, that's okay. Buddy, we're going to just toss another ball. Buddy, you're going to be just fine, buddy. And I was like, get away from my child. I mean, not in a mean way, but like, it's one of those where like, it always comes off like macho or whatever, but like, whenever your dad or you see a guy like that, your dad's like, anyway, all right, Robert.
All right.
All right, Stuart. Yes, give it back home. Yes, you're a great dad. And it's not like we're not trying to I'm not trying to make fun, but like that's what my brain goes to because it's like, listen, man, I'm on my own journey. I'm sure your kid responds to
How you
super special,
yep.
but you know what his kid was doing? Was over there looking across the street at a different house, and so. Why don't you play catch with your kid? Okay, like, come on, man. Like, play catch with
Come
your
on,
kid.
man.
Don't spill your family onto me. Like, this is my 18 years to do what I want to do. If you think it's wrong, that's fine.
Oh,
Everybody's
that's
got
awesome.
some stuff, but
Hey,
again,
it's okay, buddy.
that was my god. And I mean, he didn't say "buddy" that much, but it sounded. That's what I heard in my head. Is, hey, man, it's okay, buddy.
You're gonna be all
There's
right.
gonna be plenty of balls to catch. It's fine. And he was like, get away from me. I just want to play catch with my kid.
Oh, man.
Because then it always, like, to a point, it always kind of stands you up a bit. You're like, listen, dude, it's not that I'm not a nice guy, okay? I'm a nice guy. But right now, he's going through some stuff, and I'm trying to help him through it, okay?
Like let me get my kid through it, right? I don't need your guidance, and yeah, no, I get it.
I just, like,
that's
that
one
was,
thing.
yeah, that was, that was like a prime,
That's
like, that was like
funny.
my first experience with, like, oh yeah, people parent different. Like, like in my head, because you do lose time. Like after like 2-3 years, if you don't have a lot of friends that have kids, you'll lose your time. You won't see your friends for like 4 years. And you thought you saw them last summer, and it's
right. It's like, hey, I just saw you like
really
2 weeks
do.
ago. It's like, nah, man.
It's
been...
only that you get to like grow with somebody if they have the same kids.
Yeah, which is super
That's
nice
just the
because
time of life.
we have kids that are right around like the same age.
Yeah,
you know,
we got
we've mentioned and like
5, 4, 3 and a
Three
half,
and
almost
1.
4, or 1.
Yep.
So it's all
5, 4, 3, and 1. You know, so I mean, like,
Yeah.
so I mean, we, Ollie and Jackson, they play pretty good together. But then when Jackson doesn't want to do his thing, then Ollie goes and plays with Arya, and then Mavis is to the age now where
But those are all different stages, too.
Right,
Like,
yep, and they're
of,
all, like,
learning and how they write,
which
and
is fine
talk
too,
and
and I'm a very very like strong proponent in like the kid needs to try something out and like learn from that experience, right?
Yes.
So like if a kid is doing something, obviously I'm not gonna be like, oh hey Ollie, go like jump off that cliff, like because no, like they're not.
I mean,
but
because who tells their kids that? A lot of weirdos.
like, hey buddy, go play in
weird.
traffic, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but really,
Here we are.
Advice. I'm not the guy to get advice from, again. But I'll give you my life experiences. I'll give you
There
my
we go,
fathering experiences, right? And
I was
we
going to say,
we
because
can
it's
go
not
from
that
there.
you don't give advice. It's just more of like,
I can give you advice
this is
from
what
my
I would
perspective.
do. Yeah.
Yes,
This is what I did with my child. Use it or don't.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So we can move on, I guess, to the second part of that question.
Which is actually the
right?
first part of the question. but-
Well, I guess, yeah, the first part of the question and the last part of the question. So it's like the first and third part of the question,
Yes.
but like not the middle part
It's
of the
like a
question.
first
Like
question
he should have,
sandwich.
he should have just put all the question. Come on, Jack.
We'll discuss it
I'm
next
just
week
kidding.
with him.
Yeah,
In the D&D chat.
definitely gonna attack him at least twice for that.
Unarmed strike.
But no, so the second thing, because again, we both know people. I mean, I know your brother too. I've met him, hung out a couple times, who are gonna be dads, soon to be dads, right? So this is a perfect thought, to
All right,
kind of
you want to go first?
talk
second?
about it. I'll go second actually
you
on
wanna
this
go
one.
second?
Yeah, let's let you kind of go through this. So
Oh, because
so
I
now
wanted to set up the question.
wait.
Well, no, I want to set a situation. I want to be like, all right, Brienne goes,
No,
I'm pregnant. Like, what was your thought then to?
Oh, yeah, we can get to that.
Then to
hold
birth.
on, hold
You
on.
know what I mean?
So, dude, I got stories. Woo, this is gonna be a doozy. All right, let's give our journey from like when we first found out.
Fucking start right there.
No,
I was like,
no. I'm going second. I already called it. Because mine is spicy. Mine's spicy. Yours is gonna be like, I'm pregnant.
Why is it so spicy?
Yeah, literally, yours is gonna be like, I'm pregnant. Ooh, I love you. I knew we were gonna have kids. Yeah. So mine's gonna be
I've
like
established earlier. I'm the foo butterfly guy.
Mine's gonna be a little different, right? So our experiences from the time we find out through like prepping and the due date and stuff like that. So why don't you go first? Like, what was your first thoughts when, I don't know, you came home from work, I'm assuming, or something like that, and Mel was like, "Yo, we gotta talk."
No, she just. I woke up. Had to go to the bathroom. Just sitting on the toilet. You'll find that my wife and I are very real people. We understand the world and what happens in the world, and not everything is fairy tales, magic, unicorns, and stuff. Right? Well, no. So, truth be told, our first pregnancy, we did miscarry. So
Okay.
that was that does happen. More often than not, and trust me, if you've ever gone through one, or if you ever know anybody that has, they don't want to talk about it. We get it that your brother's aunt's second child had 4 of them before they had their beautiful baby boy. That's amazing, and we love that story. But in a way of patronizing, we don't want to hear it. We just want to work through it the way we want to work through it, and that's what we did.
Okay.
We did.
Yeah.
It didn't grow after a certain period of time, so we kind of knew something was going on. And then, once the ultrasound tech leaves, and then the doctor comes in and holds your wife's hand, it's more of a, all right, well, I know where this is going. And I kept I'm not a very emotional person, so I kept it very, like
open,
I was just swearing, I was upset, whatever. So, that's the thing, though. You get back on. You try again. It's fine.
Get back
Second
on,
time?
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
or get off, whatever. Sorry.
surprisingly, both. But, no, you just try again. And sure enough, the next time we did, 3 months later, boom, got my son. So, when she came up, showed me the thing. We look at it, we're like, okay, this is great. I'm very excited. And, of course, we were always kind of behind that little elephant in the room from before, right? So, for us, for a mother, it's very different than a father. It is, regardless if you want to admit it or not. They are the ones that have to go through the process of the rest of it. But when you get it again, they're gonna be super. Now she's hypersensitive. She's hyper nervous and stuff. And I just was like, hey, hell yeah, we get to go again. Let's see what happens. And it's just, I think that's kind of the mentality you got to keep on it. Like, you obviously want the best. You want a healthy kid, girl, boy, doesn't matter. Yes, that's understandable. But yeah, when we caught it, that's second time, I was just as excited as the first time, and this one worked out.
So me and Brian have been dating, maybe a year.
Jesus, we didn't want the whole story.
It's not the whole story. Maybe a year.
She just
maybe a year.
Okay,
Just listen, hold up. Maybe a year.
So there we were.
There we were looking
the 3rd of
into
September.
each other's eyes, just beautifully. I was like, "Wow!" No, I'm just kidding. No, anyway, and I flipped my hair,
As I was
and
stroking
she.
my mustache.
No,
thought,
So we weren't even married. We hadn't talked about marriage. We had literally just been dating maybe a year.
Yeah, you're dating,
right? And
You're just 2 children.
Yeah, I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid. No, I'm just kidding. And so yeah, I remember she had a little party to go to, a little get together with like her friends, and I couldn't go because I had work, right? So she goes to this party, and so I'll tell you, like, this is the story from like her perspective, from what she told me, like, at this party. And mind you, I didn't know this stuff yet. So she goes to this party, and apparently she just wasn't feeling right. Things weren't right. She had taken a pregnancy test. I guess it came back positive, right? I mean, I know it came back positive, right?
Well,
So she goes to this party, but again,
which is the first decision of a mother is to go to a party.
well, she had already been invited to the party. It was a party with like your really good friends, right? So whatever.
Yeah.
So she goes to this party and they're sitting there and they're like, "Oh, you want a drink? You want a drink?" And she was like, "No, no, no." And eventually they were like, "Yo, like you're not drinking, dude. Like what's going on, you know?" And so she spilled the beans to all her friends, right? Mm-hmm. Again, mind you, I know nothing about this. So now all her friends know. She knows. You know, it was probably like
she knows
4 people. Yeah, she knows. She knows. Anyway, so she, like her friends know her, like the 4 people she was hanging out with, like her closest like girlfriends and stuff. They know, she knows. You know, I'm sitting at home, so I get the day off or whatever. I'm downstairs and she comes back. This is when I lived in my old house in Egan, right? Son of a unprofessional. No, I'm just playing. It's fine. No, so we living at my house. You know, and she comes home, and I'm downstairs. This is like in my basement, not this basement, my previous basement, like set up stream. It was super cool. Mm-hmm. And she goes, "Hey, can you come upstairs? Like I need to talk to you." And I'm streaming. I'm playing Madden, right? So if anybody hasn't seen me play Madden streaming yet, sometimes I get into it.
It can wait till tomorrow.
I can be like, "Duh!" So I look at her. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be up in a minute." She's like, "Well, I really need to talk to you." I'm like, "I'm in the middle of a game. Like, can I wait?" You know, I'll be right up. You know, not thinking anything of it. Just like, what do we need to talk about? Like, so my mind's going like, what do we need to talk about? Like, what did I do this time? Da da da. So I finish my game. I go back. I go upstairs, and she's sitting in my room in the dark too. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, you know, what's going on? And she like
smelling like booze from the party. Just this whole
but this was the day after. You know, there's no booze. No, and she's like, hey, and I'm like, yeah, like, what's up? Like, what's going on? What are we talking about? She goes, so I'm pregnant. And I like looked her dead in the soles of her eyes, and this was my response. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what to do. Yeah. I was like, she's like,
that
well,
happens.
I mean, like we gotta talk about this. Like, what do we gotta do? Like, we gotta start thinking. Like, do we you know, what do we want to do? We want to keep it, like da 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 da. Like, and if we do that, then we got to think about this and this and this. Because mind you, we'd only been dating for, you know, a short amount of time. Maybe like a year. Mm-hmm. And so I literally, again, and then so after she lays all this out there, you know, we got to start thinking about X, Y, Z, da 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 da, do this, planning. Da, da. I looked her in the eyes and I go, okay. And she's just like, well, like, what do you think? Da 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 da. And I was just like, I don't know. Can I go back and play my game now? Right? And I'm like, one of those types of people who like, you can tell me something, but I need that time to process it. Like, you can tell me something life-changing, and I'm like, that's cool, bro. But it might not hit me until the next day when I'm like, oh, my God, he won the lottery. Like, you know, it's like, it won't hit me. It's just one of those, like...
You're on the hyper-focus train.
And I was just like, okay, like, cool, can I go play my game? So I'm playing my game. You know, and it just kind of starts to sink in. It's like, holy spit, man. I'm going to be a dad, man. She's pregnant. Shoot, man. So I'm sitting there and yeah, like, you know, a little bit of time goes by, you know, of her being pregnant, and she's talking about how, like, I remember she mentioned at one point, she was like, well, I mean, I can just, like, live at my house, because she lived up in, like, White Bear, which is, like, 35, 40 minutes for me, because I'm down in Egan at this time. Yeah. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, if this is my child, which... Obviously it was. I mean, you've seen him. He looks freaking...
A lot of parties.
Spitting images. A lot of parties. Dude, whatever, man. It was the one party she goes to a year. And, like, so...
I just know because it bothers you.
But it doesn't bother me, no. But
no,
like,
not at all.
No. But it wasn't a party, bro. It was like... No, I'm just... No,
there was no guys there, I swear.
Yeah, dude, all girls. No, but... Yeah, I was just like, no, dude, if this is my kid, like, I'm going to be a part of my kid's life. You know, like, regardless of whether we end up together, regardless of any of that, like, this is my child, like, it's mine. Like, you know, as much as it is yours, it is my child. Like, I'm going to be there to raise my child, regardless. We're going to figure it out. So then I would say, like, up until, you know, I don't know, when do they do the heartbeat now? It's like 8? Is it 8 weeks? Is it a little past 8
I think
weeks?
it's a little past that. Yeah,
I don't
I think
remember.
it's like 10 weeks. I thought it was.
It might be
10
10 weeks, and
They start
maybe
to-
12 weeks is when we
You
did
can get a little-
the gender
usually the 12, yeah.
reveal. Yeah, maybe it's something
You
like
can,
that.
yeah.
So I think like 10 weeks came. I had like not forgotten about it, but it was one of those things. Like I was nervous, dude. I was like, oh my god, like dude. I like to party. I like to stay up and drink and hang out with friends and do my stuff, right? But now I got to like change my entire life for a kid, and I'm kind of freaking out in my head. But then like as time goes on from that first point of her telling me, I was like, man, like it's nothing, whatever, da 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 da, forget about it. And then I went in with her for one of the appointments because I was like, I'm gonna go to all the appointments with you. I'm gonna make sure everything is good, da da da. Like it's my kid. And I remember like I was fine. I met her at the doctor's office. We're sitting there, and then I remember when we heard the heartbeat, like it was like my heart sunk into my stomach. And no, it was like a because that thing beats like like fucking 200 beats a minute, whatever it is for a baby, right? Because new baby and everything. And like literally, like I went from being like cool, calm, and collected again to like nervous, like my heart sunk into my stomach. Not in a bad way though, not in like a oh my god I messed up, but like it was more of like a realization, like okay, like this shit's real, like this is real, right?
Agreed. Well, so then when we made it to the heartbeat, then yeah, I mean it was really cool to hear, so got to hear it, and we weren't actually with him. We weren't offered to. They didn't quite have it with the 12-week blood thing. We did that with my daughter, but didn't do it with my son. But yeah, I mean you're in there. Sorry, you're in there, and you hear it. You start seeing the pictures, and of course, they're scanning all the time, and it's like going in and out of like the body. So like you just see like Alien, and then actually you get like you see the black and white pictures, and then like a picture's one thing, but then when you see it like moving in the thing, and it's this little skeleton capsule, it's creepy as hell. But we saw our son. We're gonna see that. It's great. Well, we didn't know his son yet, so I'll take it up until we found out at 20 weeks where we're going back and forth. And so what happens every year where we live is they have the 100-mile garage sale. So they go from I think Duluth all the way down to Rochester. They do this giant 100-mile garage sale, and you can find a lot of good deals. This transitions to my first point. First little advice about a parent, not parenting your child, but just as a parent, go to garage sales. Go to garage sales. Buy all the onesies you can. Buy all the goods.
Two for $1 onesies, 50 cents.
Quarter. It's just And parents love bringing out. This is newborns. This is 2 months.
3 to 6.
This is 6 months.
Yep.
This is 8 months. 18 months. They love having everything, boy, girl, whatever. Well, guess what? It's really hard when your child. You're not going to find out what it is till 1 week after that garage sale. So they're like, well, you just buy neutral stuff. So we bought a lot of white clothes, and then green and orange.
I was gonna say green.
Green,
color,
orange are the two neutral colors, and it's what you're wearing. But I just noticed as I look in the camera, I'm like, wow.
Green, orange.
Yeah, they are very.
They're
just super neutral, but it's not. Obviously, it's not gender, whatever the hell now.
Gender fluid, is that?
Well, not.
I don't know.
Whatever it is. Pink. We're looking for like pink, pretty stuff. We're looking for boy, car, sport, race car stuff. Okay, whatever. So we're looking for this kid. No, we don't know it. Well, then we get a week later, and I always kind of had a hunch it was a kid or a boy. I wanted to have a boy, and sure enough, we're doing the whole. And that appointment's so long. It's like an hour and a half, and they just measuring every little thing and whatever. And I'm like, it's sad, but you're just sitting there like, please be a penis. Please be a penis. Show me a penis. And then
show me a wiener.
You don't even see it though, and like their knees are like. Like this, and you're trying to like figure out, and then she goes, "Well, there it is, right there. There's the balls."
You guys see that, and then you look, you're like, "What am I looking at?
Yep.
I don't see nothing."
Like, congratulations, and then they write it on the screen. It's a boy.
Wiener.
Yeah, wiener. So like that was awesome. I was over the moon because it is a. Well, that's what's so exciting. It is a male's dream to, of course, have the son. A lot of the games we play, it's a lot medieval. It's a lot of different world stuff. But it is the passage of your name down.
I want the boy to protect his younger siblings.
But it's also, it's passing that down.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a huge thing. So I was the first boy of my dad, so that was kind of cool to be that. Then I had Jackson, so it was nice. It was like we were so excited all the way up, and then we're like, well, if only we could have spent $60 at the garage sale and had his first 2 years of clothes. But regardless, we found stuff, and it was a lot of fun. We got to that point. So then I'll lead it up to birth.
So we found out. So yeah.
stop
So
at
again,
birth.
like I was like anxiety hitting in, right, and it was just one of those things. Like, so we got the blood work done because maybe the place we went to, I don't know, because it wasn't maybe a year after you. I don't know. Maybe if technology advanced that much. I don't know. But they were able to be like, hey, so we can take blood from the mom, and we can test it to see what the kids like sex is. They can do all that stuff, and they were like, it's non-invasive to the kids. So like they just draw Brienne's blood, and they're like, we're able to tell like if there's any chromosomal deficiencies, like if he's gonna have any sort of anything like that, because we're like, hey, that's a different conversation, right? Like obviously, like
it is. I didn't touch on it, but you are faced with that decision.
That's a different conversation because
like 23, and then they check for the spinal fluid for Down syndrome.
Yep.
If it's too much, you might have.
So we did test that. Everything came back. It was like less than 1% chance.
Absolutely.
Right?
Which is yes.
I mean, you look at my kid now. He's it's Oliver. Like that's a
not to make light of the other kids.
No.
Yes, we joke about it.
It's definitely like a decision. It's something that you worry about because you're like, hey, like I want my kid to be 100% healthy, right? So like that was a huge like I went from having like obviously again no like whatever, okay, cool, to like holy shit, this is happening with the heartbeat, to like is this kid gonna be healthy, right? Like I need to know like what is, and they're like, hey, but like with this, are you worried about the gender reveal? Because we will show you everything right here, right? And me and my wife were like, you know what, like girlfriend at the time, wife now, we were just like, you know what, like we
Thank God.
Whew. No, just kidding. No, we were like, you know what, like honestly, I think knowing the sex of the baby will help us pick a name easier. It doesn't. Just throwing it out there. Like so we're like, yeah, like we don't care, we need to know. So they come back and they're like, it's gonna show you on screen, so if you don't want to know, like we will review the stuff and then let you know. And we're like, no, we don't care, like to know, like it's not a big surprise, like just tell us. And so yep, they went through it and they're like, oh, it's a boy. And we're just like, I was like, my man,
Absolutely.
you know, like I get excited, and it's just like, and then picking of names came about, right? And let me tell you, when I tell you we didn't have a name until like the day before he was born, we didn't have a name until probably a couple weeks before he was born. We had no idea what we wanted to name him. We'd go back and forth. We'd be like, and like somebody should be like, hey, what do you think about names? What do you think about Rory? And I'm like, I can't name him Rory. And she's like, why? I'm like, because I work with a guy named Rory. I just can't name him Rory. Like it's gonna make me think of Rory. Rory. And then she's like, well, what about this name? What about that name? Nope, can't name him that because I know someone. And I'd be like, hey, what about this name? Nope, I don't want to name him that because it reminds me of so and so. And it's like, holy smokes, man.
It does suck.
So I literally, I just be sitting there like, let's name him. I want to name him Flyer, and middle name Miles. Flyer Miles, dude, just have him, and then just like have him wrestle and just teach him all the throws in the world, dude. Like he'd just be, hey, ready to catch these Flyer Miles? Boom, dude, just toss a kid for 5. I was like on that mind pad, and she was like, if you ever say that again, like, and she legitimately, if you ever say that again, like you will not
100% side with her.
She was like, well, but that's the thing, we couldn't come up with names, so I just started throwing like anything out there. I was like, come on, like
I'll
anything.
be honest, I didn't get the Flyer Miles thing until you said it the second time, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, dude, it's all about wrestling throws, get that airtime. But yeah, so we didn't come up with a name until probably he was, I don't know, probably 6 weeks from being born, maybe. Like we were like, whatever. But like, I think the thing that like kept me on reality, that kept me like keep thinking about it, even though it's not that I didn't want to think about it. It was one of those that it was just like every time subtle. Every time I thought about it, I was just like, I got like, oh my god, a little more anxiety. But like, she would text me like every week, like, today our child is as big as a grapefruit. Today our child is as big as a pineapple. And like she would text me these every week, and I was like, oh my god, like please just let me like
we want our audience to be everybody but women.
It's like I can't have this right now. I can't do it.
We don't care.
It's not that I didn't care.
It's not. No, it's not. Like,
For me,
I don't
for me,
need
I was
to
like,
know.
I can't know that right now. You got to let me go through my daily routines and doing my stuff.
Oh, it actually bothered you. I didn't really. I was like, cool.
Like, no, it
Like,
stressed
I just
me
said
out.
it. I mean,
It
well,
kept
it's like,
reminding me.
now
I was
it's
like,
a
oh, man.
walnut.
But
Now it's an apricot.
now it's
And I
a
was like, I don't know what an
coconut.
apricot- Yeah. Now it's a coconut.
Oh, look at a baby pineapple. That's your baby.
If you said, like, if you gave me, like, a better description, like, now it's the size of a Game Boy. The original. You're like, oh,
oh,
shit.
that's a big boy.
Not a pocket. Not a pocket Game Boy. But
Super Nintendo is growing in your wife. Like, what the?
if you remember the original Sega controller, it's that big. And you're like, with the 3 and the 3?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
With the XYZ and the
Yep,
ABC.
absolutely. Or the original Xbox controller. Yeah, those things are watermelons. But I mean, that's just easy.
But yeah, no,
it's
no,
easier
that was her thing, and like I
Yeah.
said, that was the only thing that really stressed me out. And it's not because like I get that like she was doing it and looking at it and trying to be excited for it, and then it's not that I wasn't excited for it, but me as a person, I'm just kind of like, let me like I got to deal with it my way, right? Like everyone deals with stuff differently, and text me like every morning at work at freaking 4 a.m. while I'm working overnights and stuff, and I was like, oh man, you know. Yeah, I remember my team lead too. I remember he saw me one day, like after I'd found out everything, and I was just working, just head down, just kind of like, and he goes, and he was just like, you all right, man? We're feeling freezer. I'm like, man, I just found out some stuff. I don't know if I'm okay. Like da da da. And he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? I was like, I just found out I'm gonna be a dad, and he's just like,
see, like this
and
is
like,
where it's such a different perspective though, because we were married.
yeah, see, and I
And
wasn't.
We had just been married, and then we're within the first 6 months. You know, so,
see, and I wasn't, and that's
why
where
this
it was
is-
just like I was nervous because I'm like, you know, like, is she the one? Like, now she has to be the one. You know, I mean, and obviously everything.
I mean, she is.
Everything
She
has worked
is,
out for the best. I'm not trying to say
We
like.
gotta cover this all, right?
But
I mean,
yeah.
she hasn't watched this yet, but
But yeah, no,
when she does.
it's one of those where it's like, you know, you go through these thoughts in your head.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like,
Oh,
you know,
God, yeah.
like, oh, are
You gotta-
we, you know, are we gonna last forever? Is this gonna be one of those, you know, like, what if she has the kid and then takes half of everything I
have
have? I
different
don't have
Christmases.
anything.
What
Yeah,
are we doing?
I have Hanukkah. She has Christmas. How are we gonna do
right.
this? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, no, there's a lot of thoughts that go through your head, especially when you're not married. Like I said, we've only been dating. We've only been dating for about a year, maybe a little over a year. You know, so I mean, there's a lot of thoughts, but like. You know, everyone's in different situations, right? But it was just one of those, and I told Dustin, I was like, yeah, man, I'm about to be a dad, da-da-da. He goes, dude, I knew something was up with you. I could just tell, da-da, you know, and just
And
like,
he's like, man, that sucks.
That's
and then
right.
Just walks away.
That's right. No, he was like,
No,
he was
it's-
like one of the best team leads I've ever had, literally, because
absolutely.
like he just like, we just clicked, man. But but
Nice.
yeah, no, and
Yeah. Well, have fun with him and your guys'
you
podcast.
were never my team lead, you fucker.
Yeah. Well, so my wife had to deal with Braxton Hicks to get like these mini contractions.
Yeah, they're like fake contractions.
Yeah,
right?
they
They're
don't
like,
really
yeah.
happen, but you still gotta watch it. So, yeah, we went in. She just kind of felt a little stressed before, and yeah, the doctor's like, "Yeah, you're a centimeter dilated. We could have this tomorrow." I was 11. I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, it was a Thursday." She goes, "Yeah, tomorrow, Thursday at 11. You want to have your baby?" And I'll tell you what, if you ever get that chance, take that every time. Who wants to be sitting around for your girl to like just bend over
Oh, just wait.
or to like reach for something, and then she goes, "Uh-oh, broken water." You got your backup plan, your triple plan ready
Fire
to go.
hydrant spraying
You gotta
all
throw
over
her
the
in the
house.
car. You gotta make sure you know the quickest route to the hospital and stuff. We got to just be like, "Yeah, we'll have it tomorrow." It's like, "All right, we'll see you at 11." So we show up, go ahead and get her in gown or whatever, and she's kind of sitting there. And so they give you what's called Pitocin, which makes it start. And so yeah, by the time we got there at 11, it was like 1:30, where she was like, "All right, go ahead and prick her." And then they just kind of, it starts to get painful. So of course she's like wandering around. They got like that big medicine ball, you know, they're that big like physio
Yep.
ball, you know. So she's like hanging on that, and you're just kind of on yours, just kind of hanging out because I mean, you are doing nothing, so you are contributing nothing to this except just like a back rub or like something. Like there's really nothing, and she's just whoo, all right, yeah, whoo, you know. And then finally, the doctor comes in, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna go." So it was like 3:30. She only had been in labor-ish type, not hard labor yet, but like beginnings for like hour and a half, 2 hours. So they go ahead and they set her up. They broke the water, and then I remember I was sitting at the. So I signed up to be at what you guys see here, up at this side, maybe a head right here, and then just like it's okay, we're gonna get through this, we're fine, But the doctor's like, hey Jake, want to come over here? I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, just go ahead and grab her leg. We're gonna need your help on this one. I'm like, I don't work here. Do you see a badge?
Weren't you like making jokes the whole time too?
Well, no,
like...
that was on the second one.
Oh, okay,
but
sorry.
This one was just like, yeah, I don't work here. She's like, well, we're gonna need help. We only got one nurse, can't get a hold of the other one. I'm like, how small is this hospital that you can't find a second nurse to help you? So anyway, as I tell the story, I'm holding her foot and her leg, and I'm staring down Main Street, and I got quite a view. It looks different from the last time I was down there, but it's fine. And so we're going, and then I'm sitting there, and it's I've never been a guy to like pass out from stuff like that, like blood and all that things. It doesn't make me pass out, but I can see why it would, because like it was getting this dancer like, whew, just gonna lay down a little bit. I get it, right? Well, I'm like sitting there, and then the doctor's like, yep, he's coming pretty quick. If he's out, I could probably pick my kids up from school here about 4:30. I'm like, this is the most unprofessional birth story like ever. I'm like, what do you mean? But she was like, everything's fine. And I'm like, okay. And so now it comes down to the crunch time. Now it's push time. We're ready to go. And now it's getting really And so they're doing, and I'm just standing here. I'm holding a knee and a foot, and I'm just standing here. And they're like, all right, and we didn't go to any class. We didn't do Lamaze class or anything like that. It was just like push hard. And so we didn't. She was very adamant about not doing the medicine. She didn't want to do any of the, what's that thing? The spinal
like
tap.
Epidural
the epidural. Yeah. She didn't want to do the spinal tap thing. So she was just like, I just want to have it normal. And because, of course, one of my friends, a good friend of mine from school age, was, she said, whenever it's the hardest and it hurts the most, you got 10 minutes. And it's over. And for whatever reason, Mel just ran with that. She's like, all right, I can take it. I'm a tough girl. I can take it. So that's where, and trust me, I saw it get to the worst point where I've never heard my wife scream ever that loud. And it's like red face, like screaming, and like I'm not because I'm holding the foot. So I'm not holding the hand. I'm not like, it's okay. Like towel. I'm like part of this, but not doing anything. So it's really uncomfortable. And then, of course, the next thing you hear is, Mel, her fucking dad walks in. And my wife, with the reddest face, goes, get the fuck out of here. I was scared. I thought we were birthing. Have you ever seen Omen? I thought we had a demon child. Because that was the crazy. And he's just like, oh, sorry. Shut the door, goes back and sits in the waiting room. Oh my god, it was such a funny day. And so then, of course, but like, Jesus. I would tell you because I see everything in slow motion for me sometimes. When I look down on the last push, Jackson's head, like popped out, and just for the freeze frame to see an infant head out of another body,
dude,
is terrifying. But as soon as it goes, boop. Doctor's like, and then like fucking water bended it out of there, and then was like wrapped it up, boom, and then they're like, would you like to cut? Like immediately, I'm like, oh, yeah. And like, I cut it, and I was like, eh. And then they take the baby, they go clean off the baby, and then she's got more stuff. That's not like it's not done.
No,
there's more stuff after. There's an encore. So then there's dealing with all that. Then I got to move to the front. I want to move to the front of that one. There's a big bag of stuff, and then she like, ooh, cooling down. And they bring a baby over, you get a picture, and you're like, yeah, I made a baby, yeah,
I made a baby,
And then,
did it, bro.
And then she passes out, and then they just put them in a little box,
little basket,
and then they take them.
Yep,
they just take them away, and then you're like, whew, well, that was easy. That was it. They're ready to off. I was kind of like, God, that was intense, huh? She was sleeping. She didn't hear me ask that, but I was laughing my ass off,
dude,
when I asked. But anyway, so it does that. He's born, comes in, and then of course there's a bunch of tests, and they gotta make sure he's at the right levels or whatever for
The
you.
hearing
You
and
gotta
the
spend-
sight and the...
Yeah, you gotta spend mandatory 48 hours in the hospital, and it's the whole thing. And like I said, this was October, right? And so when we went in with him, we went in. It was like a bright, like 70-degree day. We were in the hospital for 2 hours. We were in the same room for 2 days, or I'm sorry, the 2 days, right? And I don't like the light, so I like, put the shade down. When we left, there was 2 feet of snow on the ground. When we left, I was like, "We're not ready for this." But yeah, so then we and that's the creepiest thing when it's your first kid. They're like, "You got a car seat. You gotta have a car seat. If you don't have it, they won't give you the kid." So it's like, gotta have a car seat. You gotta have it installed properly. And then they literally like, it's the weirdest feeling, but like you just went through this incredibly scarring situation, like experience you felt, right? And then within 48 hours, they're like, all right, there you go.
Yep. See you go.
Go figure
See
it
you
out.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't call.
You have a child. And they're like, well, there you go.
On you.
See you next time. And then you just get in the car and you're like,
The fuck am I supposed to do now?
oh. Like,
So
we're just, I mean, how many times we looked at each other and go, we got a baby. Like,
twice.
it's real. It's real. And you went home
Dude.
and
So
you just start doing it.
So our story leading up to that. So it was the night of Brienne. I woke up. I was still working overnight, and she looks at me and she goes, "Yeah, I don't know. I'm just having like, I don't know if it's Braxton Hicks because she had a lot of Braxton Hicks as well. Like it was like, and I mean she had it days up to, and again what Braxton Hicks is, it's like that fake contractions, not fake contractions, but they're not the real thing, right? I think it's like fake contractions or something, right? And poor Braxton Hicks, whoever that guy was, he was a phony. No, I'm just kidding.
That's terrible.
Anyways, no. So we're sitting there, and I wake up, and then she's just like,
It's
"I
like
don't know."
the guy who named Herpes.
And like-
like James Herpes. What a terrible name. What
It
a,
sucks for that
he's like,
guy.
God, I made a great discovery. Well, no.
Oh,
I was
did
gonna
you
say.
though? But no.
Sorry.
So we're sitting there, and I wake up, and I'm just like, because I gotta go to work. I gotta work at 9 p.m. and I'm waking up. It's like I don't remember, maybe like 7 or so, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I'll just say
In the morning.
p.m.
Oh, PM.
No, yeah,
In the
overnights, yeah.
Late evening.
So I'm sitting there and she's just like, I think I'm gonna have this baby tonight. I'm like, are you like sure you're gonna have this baby? Like, I'm just one of those who I don't like to miss work. I like to be there. Like, I gotta go do my job, right? So I'm like, are you like sure you're sure you're gonna have this? She's like, yeah. You shouldn't go to work tonight. Don't go to work tonight. So I'm like, I call into work. I'm like, hey, boss man. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it at the time. And he goes, it's tonight the night. I'm like, she's thinking it's the night, so it's probably gonna be the night, And he's like, all right, man, good luck. Yeah, let us know. I'm like, cool. So I go back. I went into my basement to make the call. I come back upstairs. I'm like, hey, like I'm really hungry. And she's just like, yeah. I'm like, I think I'm gonna go get Wendy's. Like, do you want some food or something? Like, she's like, no, I'm fine. So I get in my car. I back out. I go to Wendy's. I call my mom on the way. I'm like, yeah, I think Brienne thinks she's gonna have the kid tonight. Like whatever. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm getting Wendy's. She's like, get home and be with your wife. Like if anything happens, you gotta go now.
Because of the story with your daughter.
But hang on. This is the story with the son.
I didn't know this story, and because of the story with your daughter, I cannot believe.
That she's still with me.
Yes.
So
You are a very selfish human being.
So no, I asked her if she wanted some.
No, that's not the point.
So hang on. So I'm sitting there, and one of my like best friends, my really good buddy, he lives at this time 7 minutes away. He lives in Apple Valley. Apple Valley to Egan is, you take interstate, boom, you're right there, right? Mm-hmm. And so I get home, I eat my Wendy's, and I look at her, and I'm like, so how you feeling? She's like, I don't know, I think I'm having contractions, I'm not really sure. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I'm timing them out right now, I'm like, I think at this time, she was like, I'm timing them out, they're like 3 minutes apart. I'm like, oh, 3-4 minutes apart, and but like she called the doctor, right? And the doctor was like, nope, like don't come in until you're this time apart, because they'll send you home if you're not a certain time apart on your contractions. I think it was like 3 to 4 minutes. It might have been a little bit more time with that, because I specifically remember her saying.
I'm gonna tell you, it was more time.
It was more time, because I specifically remember her saying.
Because again, the story with your daughter.
Okay, hold up. So I specifically remember her saying, Well, you know how like the female body is meant to like forget the pain of childbirth, so there's more children made. Like the male body doesn't remember it either. All right, so like I don't remember.
I'm just saying, if after this episode we have 50 women on YouTube
just hating on me.
just remember
Listen,
to spell. Just remember to spell MIDI-80 right, because Chief said none of that.
I am a
I
great
don't
dad.
agree with
Okay,
that.
I'm there.
Oh,
okay,
we were
anyways.
talking about being a dad.
And listen.
We didn't talk about
Anyway,
any of that.
so I'm sitting there and she's just
Dog.
like hey,
you know
like
how it
oh my
doesn't
god.
hurt that much. Like I've
So-
been kicked in the balls. I
Shut
know what
up,
it
shut up.
feels like.
Hang on. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, okay. I'm sitting there and I'm like,
man.
all right, cool. I eat my Wendy's and whatever. And she's just like, yeah, like they're so far apart. I'm like, well, do we got to go in now? And she's like, well, no, because I called the doctor and they said if I'm not this much dilated or don't have the contractions in this time, like I
Which
can't,
you're not gonna know
I can't come in. And I'm just like, cool. Like I'm like, I don't know what that means. So I'm like, I gotta get the car seat in the car. So I go out to the thing because I still haven't got the car seat in the car, right? So I open the door. I'm sitting there messing around with it. I'm like, I can't figure this out. So I walk back inside, and mind you, this is January 11th to be exact, right? And we're talking like negative degrees outside. There's ice on the ground, like it's
I
cold.
was gonna say, James close to that right now.
It is, but it's warmer now than it was 4 years ago, right? I remember it. Trust me, I remember this because I was sitting there.
Oh, you were there.
I was there, but so I call my buddy Buck. I'm like, yo, dude. He's like, what's up? I was like, I don't know how to put my car seat in the car. Can you come help me? Like we gotta get this ready because she's gonna have this kid at any time.
Yeah, like
Right.
now.
So he's like, I'll be right over. Right. Again, 5-7 minute drive, comes right over. Right. So I'm like, all right, Brian, we're gonna go put the car seat in the car. I'll be right back. She's like, okay, cool. She's sitting there doing her thing. We get the car seat installed. Within the time that he got there, we got the car seat installed. We walk back inside. She steps out of the bathroom in the hallway, looks at me and goes, my water just broke. I went from like A1, cool as biscuits as can be, to holy shit, I'm having a kid. I started throwing bags at the door. Mind you, I didn't have my bag packed until like I woke up from my nap. I was like, I should probably pack a hospital bag. I started throwing bags at the door. I was like, I freaked out. I didn't know what to do, right? I'm running all over the place. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Oh my God, I'm gonna have a kid. Like hyperventilating. I'm freaking out, right? So I'm sitting there, and then Brienne's
So
just
you know,
like,
you're getting no sympathy from me.
it's fine. I don't need sympathy. I'm
Because
not asking
I
for sympathy.
know-
But this is the first kid, right?
Because you did it
Second kid was
again.
different.
No, you did it again.
no, it was
I
different
know
this
you
time.
did it the second time.
No, the second time it was different, right? The second time it was different.
Not
I was
different.
prepared. The
The
first
same
time I was not. I didn't know what was going on. So I'm like throwing bags at the door. I'm like, we gotta bring this. Oh my God, da da da. And my buddy Buck's just like laughing at me. Like he's like getting a kick because he has 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
He only had I think 2 at the time, but he has 3 now. But he's just laughing at me because this is my first time going through this. And Brienne's just like, oh my God, and she's having like contractions or water broke in the bathroom. I'm like, okay. Like we gotta move, Brienne. Like we gotta go. Let me get your shoes on. She's like, fuck my shoes. I'm going outside. Like she's in pain, having contractions, right? I'm like, you're not. I stopped her. I'm like, you're not walking outside barefoot. It's like negative 10 degrees outside and there's ice on the ground. Like put your damn shoes
I
on.
think it's gonna feel good.
And I'm like, just sit down. She's like, don't fucking tell me what to do. I mean, like, dropped to the couch. Was like, ah. And I was just like, I mean, eyes like as big as they could. I'm like, okay.
It's scary.
Right?
It's
Like,
scary.
just okay.
It's a scary thing.
And then she's just like, okay. And she's like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. I'm like, oh, don't throw up. Oh.
That's right. I forget you have a yeah.
I can't do throw up. She's like, I'm gonna throw up. I'm like, don't throw up. I'm gonna throw up. And my buddy Buck is just dying in the background. He's just like, so he goes and grabs the trash can. I'm like, don't hit the trash can. Make it to the bathroom. And Buck's like, dude, I clean this up for a living. I'll take care of it. I got you. I'm like, don't do it. Right. So I'm freaking out. And like, then, oh man, finally, like we get her calmed down. I'm calmed down. We go. And we start driving, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, did we grab anything? We're driving to the hospital, and as we're leaving, I was like, oh my God, I forgot something. And she's like, what? And I'm just like, my Switch. And she's like, okay, turn around. You can go ahead and grab it real quick, right? She said that. She goes, go ahead and turn around. So I turned around.
I'll fucking go ask her right now.
You can. She said I could turn around and grab it. I turned around and grabbed it. I threw it in the car. We drove to the hospital. I did like 80 all the way up to the hospital. We get there. We get there at like 9:30, 9:45. We're in the room by like 9:45 or so. She's in the bed, and I remember I was helping her, and I got to hold her hand. And I remember my grandpa used to tell me stories. He was like, yeah, man, I never felt anything as powerful in my life as a woman giving childbirth squeezing your hand. He goes, there is nothing stronger than that. Like pushing out a kid and squeezing your hand, you think you're damn fingers are gonna fall
Getting
off.
kicked
Right?
from a cow, that's harder.
Right? No, it's not. And so she screams, man, I'm like, I can take this. So I'm all prepped for the hand squeeze and stuff. Right? Like I'm all ready for it from
We
these
live such different lives.
these pep stories my grandfather had given me, you
God.
know. So I'm helping and I'm holding and I'm holding the leg up too like you were, but I was also up here holding the hand. So I was at like the side of her. So I'm like standing here and she's laying down, right? So I'm up by her
I
head.
just picture like.
literally. So I'm like I'm holding like that.
She's like, "What are you doing?"
No. She was on like the stirrups and everything or whatever it was, dude.
Then why are you holding the leg?
Because you gotta push the leg, like they had me like push the leg up because they had someone on the other side pushing the leg. Yeah, don't ask me why I'm doing it, dude. I don't know why the fuck I'm doing anything. The doctors are just telling me to do it. But anyways,
At least you had stirrups.
so we get there. So here's the best part. So we get in the room and everything like that, and everyone's like, okay, like, what was your plan for painkillers, right? Like right when we get in the hospital, and she goes, yeah, I wanted to do the epidural, da da da. So they go ahead and they
knock me out.
they're like, okay, cool, like just give us a minute, we're gonna check. They were like, they checked, you know, they went in and checked, and they were like, be right back. Went and like got the doctor. Doctor came in, and Brienne's like, I'm not gonna get it. Like she's looking like with this like fear in her eyes, right? And I'm just trying to be like,
too late.
I'm just trying to be like, look, we got this, right?
There's a window.
And no, with the time that like we knew, like there was no time. Like it happened so quick, and then the doctor comes in, and they were just like, yeah, so like we can do this, and then she goes, well, like, am I gonna get the epidural? She goes, well, here are some options for you. Da 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 da. We could do this, and then she was like, but am I gonna get the like pain meds? And they were like,
no.
By the time we'd administer it, it's like 30 minutes because we got to drip it and this, and then by the time everything kicks in, we're looking at an hour. They're like, honey, you're like 7 centimeters dilated, like or 8 centimeters. So they're like, you're having a baby. Like,
oh yeah, it's a very.
But they
quick
wouldn't.
window.
They would not tell her no. So she's like, am I getting it? Am I getting it? And they finally were like, so they ended up giving her like laughing gas, essentially. So and it would like did nothing. It was just something to help her like control her breathing. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna look, right? So I'm holding her hand, I'm holding her leg, like I'd pull it up on the contraction, relax, pull it up, help her, right? And then like I was like, I'm not looking. And then so I'm sitting there, and like we go, and then all of a sudden the nurse was just like, hey daddy, look, there's a head. And I was just like, what? And all of a sudden I was just like, I gotta look now.
Well, yeah.
So I peek down, right now imagine I go down like this. My eyes have never been like so bugged out in my life. I was just like, and like literally just sat like this, and then just watched this thing pop out. And then they got to the point where they're like, all right, push. So she pushed, and she was like, she went to relax. So I was like, they turned around, they're like, oh, there's no relaxing, you just keep pushing. Like they got to that point, you know, and she like went to like breathe and relax, and they're like, nope, you push right now, like that thing is out. So she pushed again. Next thing you know, Ollie like head, arm pops out, and he was in like this, and then he's like, oh, it's a baby boy. Literally, I can never forget this. Literally, like fish hooked, like came in just around, kept caught under the armpit, and just baby like shot out almost. Not, like, I was just like this.
Oh yeah, like I said, they water bend it right out of there. Just whoosh.
And so yeah, and I was just like, oh my god, like, wait, I have a kid, right? And so I'm all happy. I'm just like I'm just thinking, my first thought was like, does he have all his fingers and toes? Is everything like actually there?
They tell you
Her
that.
First thing, it's a boy, right?
Yeah.
And we started. I just started laughing at that, and then yeah, man, and then yeah, like you said, they wrap it up, they give it to you, like it's a boy. They asked me if I want to cut. I was like, I don't know. Like I kind of didn't want to, and they were like, it doesn't hurt the baby, just do it. So I was like, all right, and I cut the umbilical cord, and then I mean, it's not just a snip either. It's like a
Oh yeah, you got to work through it.
You almost feel like you have the
meat.
dullest pair of scissors in the
Cutting
world.
through a beef stick.
Cutting, yes.
So
That's
pretty-
almost kind of like
almost what it
super
Like a soft
dull
beef stick.
pair of scissors
Yeah.
cutting through beef
That's
stick.
what it
Yeah,
is.
and you're just what the, and you're like, and you
Yep.
finally cut it, and they're like boom boom, and then yeah again,
clamp both
then you
sides.
sit there, and then you sit there, and then baby lays with mom, and Ollie just had the meanest looking. He was just like,
Oh, yeah.
like literally looked around
also,
and was just like,
they're like purple
yeah,
and like
if the doctor
weird.
doesn't say
They're
nothing,
super gross.
colors-
They don't look
yeah.
like a normal baby. They
No.
look like
and like
They look like they're hypoxic.
sat there and like he just like looked around and like I always imagine because like we've had group like litters of puppies growing up.
Did you think yours had really long fingers the first time you saw them?
They look like an old man,
like
old man fingers,
like
old
really,
man toes,
really long
like
fingers.
yeah,
like,
and
just,
like well the other thing too is I was like
fingernails.
I was like
gross.
I always imagine like babies because like I said litters of puppies growing up and stuff like that, like they always had their eyes closed and stuff, so I was thinking, oh man, I don't know when his eyes will open. Literally comes out and just like most babies come out crying. He had the stink look on his face, like this is the world I came into, like fuck this, like but yeah. And then and then literally so
bring him any Taco Bell.
Right? Wendy's. It was
Wendy's, sorry.
And no, it was 11/19 on 1/11/2019. So 1/11/19 is his birthday. At 11/19 he was born. And
that's cute.
That first 41 minutes counted as our first day of 2 days in the hospital. So
nice.
So like he's saying you stay 48 hours. That first like he was born at 11:19 p.m.
Yeah.
That 41 minutes was day 1.
Yeah.
And then we went through day 2 and they're like, "Here you go, have a kid." And then from there it's all trial and error, you know?
You're trying to remember the swaddle. You gotta learn. I'm still a master swaddle.
Dude, I could swaddle. I could swaddle a baby. Man, I could wrap a burrito. I could swaddle a baby.
Man, I got the swaddle down. It's perfect. They like it. I mean, it's just a little football. And trust me, if you're a dad that feels like it's so tiny, I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna do it. I guarantee you
will never
with your own child. You may have felt that way with other people's kids, but when it is your child,
you will catch that baby falling from the second floor of a burning building without even knowing that it's happening.
You don't even. You will immediately grab it as if you were born to do.
I mean, it's just like you're sitting there and just you can just grab it and be like, "Why'd you do that?"
Don't grab it like that.
No, but I mean, like, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, your kid's jumping off the couch, you're not paying attention, and all of a sudden you're just like, boom.
I'm talking about infant though, like, because a lot of men don't like to just hold a baby.
The little
they
baby.
They don't like to just hold a baby.
The first one, I was just like, I don't know what to do, and like, I'm like,
and they're very
super
tiny.
hard, and
they're very tiny. They are about 2 beer cans. Remember we were talking about the references here?
Little.
It's probably 2 beer
Smaller
cans
than that.
big. I'd say it's about
I would say I don't know. I mean, that's
that's pretty. I mean, if I had a beer baby. That's about it.
I don't know. I guess I haven't had a
2
little baby
beer
in a
cans.
while, but yeah, dude, it's a crazy experience. But honestly though, it is the like looking back at it. Yeah, I was freaked out. I was worried, but honestly, like it is the best thing that has ever happened to me in my life. Like I go to bed every night just thinking like, God, like I mean, I couldn't do it without my kids now. You know, and everyone says that too. Like you hear those quotes, right? That's like you know. I couldn't do it without you today. Like I never knew that I needed this kind of thing, you know, like stuff like that. And it is crazy. Like I could not imagine a world without my children in it right now. Like,
for sure.
Like what would I be doing? Nothing.
Well, and like we said, leading up to this, it's fun, it's exciting. I mean, yes, are there things that can go wrong? Yes, but it's not like don't keep that in your mind. Like remember that humans and animals and stuff have done this. This isn't a stand, I'm just saying. We've been here for many thousands, millions, billions of years. Life will go on. And if, just think with that attitude that, like, if you have a chance to get pregnant, because some people don't. People don't.
Yeah,
like,
some people, they can't.
I've had friends that it took years to get there. But if you have a chance to get pregnant, just have I can't believe I forgot the word. Optimism. Have the optimism to think that this is what's supposed to happen, and anything else might not.
Right.
And that's okay. But just keep the positive side. Don't worry about the stupid stuff.
You can't.
It doesn't matter.
You can't control what you can't control.
Exactly.
And you don't know. And that's like the most generic statement in all of time. But think about it. You cannot control what you cannot control.
Exactly.
So how the baby is going to be, what's going to happen, you can't control that.
Because so many people go like, well, what if this? What if this? And I go, what are you going to do about it?
You can't. That's
nothing, what I do. I go right in their face. What are you going to do about it?
But there's nothing you can do.
I can't do anything. You're like, okay.
There's nothing. And it's easier said than done. 100%, right? Because obviously you're going to get emotional, you're going to get pissed, you're going to get sad, whatever. Easier said than done. You can't control what you can't control. Just be excited, man, because like it's a big step for you. It's a big step for everybody, and it is a life-changing thing that honestly you will never regret. Sorry, excuse me.
Well, I mean,
you'll never regret it.
I mean, and your kid just turned 4, mine's 5. I got 3, and like within I think it seems like it goes by really fast because they grow super fast.
Oh, 100%.
Because I feel like now to 5, it's like, holy crap. Like I look on Snapchat.
My 1-year-old daughter was taking her first steps today. We were sitting there passing her back and forth. She was walking back and forth like 3 steps between each of us.
But the next thing you know, she's walking around like Arya, just like picking
saying
her stuff
words.
and climbing on things. And you don't even think about it.
You don't.
But I think the next 5 years, from like 5 to 10, I don't think they move a whole lot. But it's just different stuff,
my biggest advice to you, and this is one thing that we have the opportunity.
We don't give advice.
We don't give advice, but my advice to you, and this is something that I can give you from advice from personal experience, right? And this is something my parents didn't have the opportunity to do, and their parents didn't, right? But we have the opportunity to do. Take as many pictures and videos as you can.
Oh God, yeah.
100%. And I'm going to tell you that because, like, not that my parents couldn't take pictures, they couldn't take videos, but technology 30 years ago. You know, wasn't where it is today to where I can pull out my phone and be like, picture, video.
7,000 pictures on my phone.
Take the pictures, take the videos, right? Because I'm telling you right now, in 2 years when your wife is scrolling on Snapchat, like my wife does every day, she'll be like, oh my God, look at this. And you see a little picture of Ollie 2 years ago coming up and be like, Forky, Woody, Buzz, you know, and it's just like, I don't remember him talking like that, you know? And so that is... If I can give you any advice as a parent, take as many pictures and videos as you can. As many. Never think that you have too many. Because one day you're going to look back, I'm not even kidding. And like I said, I only have a 4-year-old. But one day you're going to look back and be like, holy shit, I don't remember this kid. Like that, like, I don't remember him like this because he is like this. Like, it's crazy. And it's not that I don't want to remember this. It's like you just don't because you're living in the now and with it. So that's my one piece. Any advice you would give one to new dads, new moms?
New dads. So like leading up, like I said, it's exciting. Your wife's gonna be tired and in pain. She's gonna wear diapers. It's just gonna happen. So deal with it.
You're gonna laugh about it.
If you can learn to make fun of it, that's cool too. That's what me and my wife did. We had a lot of diaper jokes, but it's gonna happen. So. It's going to be a tough spot. That's when they lean on you. Granted, we didn't do a lot to contribute, but...
I'm hungry.
But, yeah. But help out. I would say, as a new dad, one thing you do develop, which I was just thinking about when you were talking, was you develop superhuman hearing.
Oh, 100%.
So if you
I can be dead asleep on the couch.
Well, no, it's not that. If you are, like... If you have, like, the room... I mean, you have a room with the crib, and you have the kids sleeping in it. I'm not shitting you. You can hear them breathe, and it is okay to check to make sure your child is breathing anytime you feel like it. Because I still do that today. I will go in and make sure my children are breathing just because that's what you do as a parent. But you will be able to hear that, the slightest little you're up. And you could be 2 rooms away.
Yep.
And you will hear exactly what... That's normal. And it's normal to check your kid. It's normal to worry. It's normal to be all that. But hold them, laugh, kiss them, hug them.
Yep. Yeah. 100%, man. 100%. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that, man.
All right, guys.
Beer, but
yeah. There's a little bit about us and a little bit about our experiences.
Again, we're a little longer, but I feel this is for
good
2 dads that have had. I mean, we wanted to address Jack's question, and of course we've had a couple kids now, so we've been through it a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, man, guys, if you have any questions, dude, let us know down in the comments below. You know, we'll be glad to, like I said, host an episode almost about it. Right? There's a whole episode.
Yeah,
we
we
didn't even veer off topic. We really stuck to our guns.
Maybe we're cured.
Oh, Jack, you did it.
No.
Yeah, right.
No, we're not.
One question ain't gonna save us.
But see, that's the thing. There's a thing with people who have ADHD or neurodivergence or anything you want to say it, is that we have hyperfocus and things that we are very passionate about. We could talk in length about for hours, days, years. And, of course, that's about our kids.
Yep,
we love our kids.
My children is one of those. So.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, guys, 100%. Let us know if you have anything in the comments you want us to cover, any questions you got, any experiences from our life that you want. I mean, like I said, maybe not the best to give advice in certain situations, but we'll do our best. We'll give you our advice that we found most helpful for us.
That's fine.
But other than that, yeah.
Yeah. So, shout out to Jack.
Shout out to Jack. Victorious POD.
Absolutely.
I want to say the name
Shout
of
out
his,
to Joe Rogan and Two Bears One
Yep,
Cave.
Joe Rogan. Yep, let's go. Anytime you want us on, buddy.
Absolutely.
Just, you let me know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Buddy, like we met yesterday, and
For sure.
It's a Minnesota thing,
Well, yeah.
And yeah, Two Bears, One Cave, same thing. Like you guys want us on, let us know.
That'd be great. We have great insight.
Other than that, yeah, man. Hey, cheers to that one, huh?
Absolutely, bud.
Cheers to that one.
All
Later,
right.
everybody.
See you guys.